In today's video, Tilray reported a positive net income in the recent quarter. Furthermore, Robinhood is currently down 10% from their IPO price. Is it time to buy? Next, Facebook reported really great earnings and hints at a Metaverse. And finally, some more news coming right up. Welcome back everyone, I'm your host Edward, and on this channel I talk about stocks and crypto news. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to subscribe and hit that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, let's not waste any more time and let's just dive right in. So as usual, I'm just going to go through the markets, and we can see that the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq, and the S&P are up today. Not by a lot, but it is a green day. And if we look at the heat map today, right, almost everything is green except for a couple stocks. And I'll touch base on Facebook later on in this video. Now in terms of the crypto market, it is up about 1% today, and Bitcoin's just down a little bit but still hovering at about $40,000. But yeah, there's a lot of resistance at about $40,000. So the only way we can see another short-term bull run is if we close above $41,000. So yeah, we can see that there's a lot of resistance and volume is a little bit low now. So yeah, we'll just see what happens. So the main article that I want to talk about today is Tilray, because for those that don't know, they recently merged with Aphria. And the reason why the stock shot up yesterday is because the company reported a net income of $33.6 million. And in this particular article, right, the CEO came out and said that he sees legalization in America over the next year or so. So with all these amazing catalysts, we saw Tilray stock jump from $12 to about $16 per share. And we also see a lot of volume coming in now. But in terms of the cannabis sector, right, I'm very bullish. And I think right now it's still a little bit early. But I think a lot of people are also anticipating a short squeeze, because right now the short volume ratio is at about 27%. And the reason why a lot of hedge funds don't like this stock is because they're kind of just bleeding money. And I'll get into the numbers in just a second. But out of all the other cannabis stocks, I would rate this one at top 3. And yeah, the company is currently trading at a $7 billion market cap. And if we go to the bigger picture, right, Tilray is at this level here, trading at around other companies like Asana, Virgin Galactic, Beyond Meat, Canopy Growth, and etc. And right now I can confidently say that this company won't go bankrupt anytime soon, because they have a lot more assets than liabilities, and right now they have a current ratio of 3.37, which is really great. So in the next 12 months they should be really good. Now if we quickly go through their numbers, right, in terms of their income statement, they're growing at a crazy rate. Okay, I'm just gonna say that right now. They literally doubled revenue from 2019 to 2020, and that's a really good sign of a fast growing business. And if we look at their quarterly numbers, in the last quarter they reported about $153 million of revenue, and with the merger with Aphria, I think they can also double it this year by 2021. Now in terms of their income statement, right, this company is bleeding a lot of money. We can see they lost about $360 million, and in terms of EBITDA, that's $318 million. But I don't think a lot of people should focus on the net income yet, because this is a growth stock. What they should focus on is the run rate, which is the top line, which is also called the revenue. Okay, now in terms of their balance sheet, they have about $260 million in cash, but the downside is that they do have a lot of long-term debt, which is $856 million, which is the only downside that I kind of see with this company. But if they're able to kind of leverage properly and understand what they're using their money for, then I don't mind. And lastly, just going to their free cash flow, they almost reported a positive free cash flow last quarter, but this company isn't making money, so free cash flow isn't also an issue. Overall, this stock is heavily shorted at 7% of shares outstanding that's shorted. And back in 2018, right, I don't know if a lot of people started investing during that time, but I remember what happened. The stock literally had the biggest short squeeze ever, and it literally pumped Tilray up to the moon, and it peaked at about $150 per share. And obviously, right, nothing always goes up and up and up, and the bubble kind of popped, and now we're back to the regular valuation. But at the end of the day, I think cannabis is a growing sector, but as more states and countries starts legalizing this, Tilray and Canopy Growth will take a lot of market share. And like I said, this is very early, and always remember to do your own due diligence and research before buying any stock. Next up, Robinhood went IPO at about $38 per share, and I'm not gonna dive too deep because I did do a couple videos on Robinhood already. So So after this video, feel free to check it out. And at the time I'm recording, I think they went IPO about, an hour ago. And the stock literally tanked about 10%. And now it's all the way back up to their, valuation, which is kind of crazy. And I have my thoughts about Robinhood. And I'm totally on the fence on this stock, to be honest. They're reporting really great numbers. But unfortunately, there's a lot of lawsuits with Robinhood. Not only that, one problem that I see with Robinhood is that majority of the revenues are coming from payment for order flow, meaning every order that is placed by a Robinhood user gets sent to the market maker, which is Citadel most of the time, and they're the ones that actually initiates the order. And sometimes customers don't get the best price, and they actually take a really small commission that customers don't even notice. And that's how Robinhood actually makes money. But the problem is that if the US government bans payment for order flow, which is pretty possible, then Robinhood is pretty much left in the dust. And in other countries, payment for order flow is illegal. So that's one of the biggest warnings that I see with Robinhood. But other than that, I love their growth, and they're actually almost a really profitable business overall, which is why I'm pretty much on the fence on the stock. But if there's a really big pullback, then maybe I'll be interested. But morally, I understand why people won't invest into this company. And if the morality part of investing is part of your investing philosophy, that's perfectly reasonable, right? And that's just my quick thoughts on Robinhood. Next up, Facebook beats revenue expectation but warns a significant growth slowdown, which is why Facebook stock is down heavily today. And quickly going through their earnings, right? They beat expectations in earnings, revenue, and average revenue per user, but they met expectations at daily active users as well as monthly active users. But other than that, there's really great earnings. But during the earnings call, they kept talking about Metaverse, and it kind of gives the vision on where Zuckerberg is heading to, which is VR. And for those that don't know what the Metaverse is, just think of it as a virtual world where you can live, work, and play inside. And that's his vision on the next goal of Facebook. And during the earnings call, they mentioned this about 20 times. So yeah, I can see Zuckerberg moving most of the workforce into VR because they did buy Oculus. I'm gonna say this right now, the VR sector has a really good TAM, and I think that Facebook has first mover advantage in this space. This could be a really big revenue stream for Facebook, and this is probably the key point in this article, right? Facebook will sell the hardware, but that's not where the real money comes from. They're focusing on making money through commerce and advertising within the metaverse. So imagine you in a virtual world, and every advertisement that you see in the metaverse, companies are buying up advertising space within Facebook in the metaverse. And I like this. This is a crazy idea, and I'm all about crazy, but I can definitely see the vision on how this is going to work out. And this is all probably going to play out in a decade or so, depending how fast they execute. But I'm very excited. Overall, I still think Facebook is a very undervalued stock, and this is probably the third stock that I'll be willing to own for the rest of my life. And I understand some people don't like Facebook morally because of how they contribute to society, but in terms of my investing philosophy, I kind of take that away, because at the end of the day, you're putting money into a company that makes you more money, and the morality of it doesn't really affect it, in my opinion, fundamentally. So that's my quick take on Facebook. Next up, it seems like Nikola founder Trevor Milton is charged with lying to investors. And last year, Nikola was probably one of the biggest SPAC deals out there and was overhyped. But the problem was that they didn't even have a vehicle ready to be produced for the masses. All they had was literally a plan. And the company was already valued at billions of dollars, which was pretty crazy. And a lot of people are already speculating Trevor Milton being a scammer or a salesman, because a salesman can pitch you a really great idea, but the problem is that they can't really execute, and this is exactly what happened. And I believe a few months later, he already stepped down as CEO, leaving all the shareholders holding the bag. And I think he also bought like a mansion somewhere. So I mean, this is totally fraud in my opinion, so I'm glad that he's getting what he deserves. But yeah, other than that, I haven't really heard about Nikola ever since, and I still think they only have a plan and not a real vehicle. But correct me if I'm wrong. Now lastly, I just want to talk about Uber, because apparently Softbank is selling 45 million shares of Uber, and the reason why they're doing that is because of what happened with Didi, and they're trying to kind of compensate it by selling some Uber shares. And I totally see where Softbank is coming from. For those that don't know, Uber is invested in Didi, and I think they owned about 15 to 20% of the company or even more. But other than that and can totally see Softbank kind of getting worried about how the CCP is controlling their companies, and they're not scared to show who is in charge. So I'm not going to dive too deep, but we can see fear all around the markets regarding Chinese stocks. And it's not just Softbank, right? Hedge funds, Wall Street, and also other professionals are kind of worried about this. And it's hard to predict the Chinese government. So yeah, that's my quick take on it. That wraps up for this video. If you're interested in buying crypto, please head into my referral links in the description box down below, so we can both get a small cash bonus once you sign up and make some trades. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can see my videos every single week. That's pretty much it, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.